nothing is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everybody joining us out on our YouTube live stream tonight. You're joining the Icon Cup Series at Gateway in the Gateway 180 tonight on SRM. As always, I am Shane Cochran. In the booth with me tonight, as usual, is Alan Bergen. Alan, how's your weekend going?
It is going great. We are nestled here just east of the Gateway Arch here in St. Louis, Missouri. The only thing better than toasted raviolis is the Icon Cup Series here at Worldwide Technology Raceway just outside of St. Louis. And I tell you what, we have the 11-time world champion St. Louis Cardinals, the one-time St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup champions, and the home of Kenny Wallace, the Herminator. You know, St. Louis is a hotbed for racing. And I got to tell you what, here in the world, I got the pleasure going to the I-55 Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park. But nonetheless, you know, in the real world also, Shane, Kyle Busch had a little bit of fun over at the Highland Speedway Saturday night, the world-famous Highland Speedway, and the world-famous Doe Run Raceway and the Micros.
Yeah, I mean, just about everybody and their cousin was hitting up St. Louis today. I saw Bill Murray at the NASCAR race giving the call to start your engines. That was pretty neat. We don't have Bill Murray, but we do have Alan Bergen, and he's more exciting than a Waffle House at 3 in the morning.
Woo, buddy. I gotta tell you what, it is fun. And, you know, before we get going here, gotta thank Shane Lake, the big dog Shane Lake, for hopping in the booth for me last Monday as we saw some pretty good action from the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. The Lady in Black always produces great racing action.
It does. So speaking of last week, let's take a look at that race. It was Brian Smith bringing home the victory at Darlington, sweeping all 3 races in the round of 16 to start the playoffs. And that's going to give him a whole bunch of bonus points heading into this next round as well. That cutoff race last week was a grind, as almost every playoff driver other than Brian was at risk of being eliminated. Brian, of course, was locked in from the 2 races before, and he would keep that trend going. But a bunch of other drivers battled up and down. Chuck Van Schaik was able to avoid 7 cautions of the night and brought it home in second, cementing his points to continue his playoff run. Braxton DeWeese, though, got caught up in incidents early on, battled back for a podium finish, finishes 3rd, and he was kind of thinking he was in a must-win scenario. We heard him a little dejected in the post-race interview, but his stage points and the 3rd place finish were enough to pull him above the cut line and get into round 2. Michael Taylor earned 17 stage points and then saw his playoff hopes dwindle with heavy front-end damage in stage 3, and although he dropped out of the top 3, he did finish by salvaging an 11th place finish, and that got his entry into round 2. Other drivers having issues: Cody Neal, Adam Ball, Kyle Purcell, Bentley Glazer, all getting taken out of the race, at least for a while, with heavy damage. But when the dust finally settled, it was Cody Neal and Purcell advancing, with Glazer and Ball below the cut line. So we're getting ready to race here tonight and start off round 2 of the playoffs, the round of 12. It is Gateway, Bristol, and New Hampshire. We've got 144 laps here tonight to get it started, and this is going to be a fun one. Very flat track, going to be a lot of side-by-side door banging action, and you're going to catch it all here on SRM with the Icon Cup Series Sunday night in the Gateway 180. Taking a look at our track specs, this is a kind of a weird shaped track, almost like a Darlington egg shape. Not symmetrical at the 2 ends, 1.25 miles around. And the story of tonight going to be the temperature. Track temps well over 100 degrees. That's going to be a slick one out there for our drivers tonight, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is we're going to go 144 laps. Stage caution is going to be at 30 and 80 tonight. In that pit window, it's going to be 41 to 44 laps with 5 additional sets of tires, 3 green white checkers, and 1 trash repair. Hopefully you don't have to use it, but nonetheless, at the end of the night, who's going to be cracking open those frosty cold Budweisers in Victory Lane? We're going to find out in 144 short laps.
It does look like the 4 car of Jacob Smith is going to be starting on the pole alongside his Buddy Motorsports teammate Brian Smith. We'll take a peek at where the playoff points are now that they've reset for the round of 12 once the race gets started. But Brian in a pretty good position, a lot of padding and bonus points for him. So as long as he keeps it relatively clean in this round, I think he's going to make it through. That pace car gets rolling. Bring up our starting grid on row 1. As we mentioned, Jacob Smith on the pole with Brian Smith on the outside. Then it's going to be Nathan Finnegan and Braxton DeWeese in row 2. Row 3 going to be Kyle Purcell and Mike Taylor. And Cody Neal and Adam Ball. Row 5, John McNeil and Bentley Glazer. They're going to round out your starting top 10. Then Jonathan Duncan and Kevin Gunther will be in row 6. With Jake Champion and Patrick Colby in row 7. And Sean Purcell and Chuck Van Schaik in row 8. And then the 72 of Brad Delph, 55 of Mike Grinnell in row 9. Then EVC, Ethan Van Colley, and Charlie Widener are your top 20. Brock Hersey and Chris Camburn are in row 11. Anthony Tizio and Hanover Fist in row 12. Ryan Patty and Jacob Gladelich in row 13. And we are getting ready to get this thing started. Cody Eldred and Kyle Diaz in row 14. Then Robert Bloom starting 29th at the tail of the field. And with that, pace car is off. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Worldwide Technology Speedway. Jacob Smith and Brian Smith are going to lead us into turn one.
Yeah, everybody watching your piece of keys getting through turn number one. It's a heavy braking zone, as we saw a few drivers today try to lock it up, but that car is going to get really light coming down that back straightaway and then to turn number 3.
And we mentioned the banking at this track, almost not there. Not what you're used to on a track this size. Certainly not the same as Darlington last week, where you had all kinds of banking in the corners. We're going to see multi-lane racing here tonight. Some drivers going to like to be right down on that curbing. A lot of folks going to kind of float the middle like you see them doing now, and then as tires wear out and drivers are desperate to make passes, you'll see them diamond the corner, kind of go up the track right in the center so that they can shoot down to the bottom and get a good run to try and make a pass on the straights.
And here we are, Jacob Smith getting away there by a little bit of 0.4 of a second, maybe a little bit less. Braxton DeWeese has always been good on these, flat tracks, as we saw multiple times this season. These shorter races really play into his hands.
Yeah, and already Braxton DeWeese and Nathan Finnegan battling it out here. They got single file, and then that 8 car said, I'm going to try it again. Shoots to the bottom. Can't quite get beside Finnegan. And that's going to open up his outside to the 08 of Taylor, and now he's going to make a move. Kyle Purcell tries to follow him through on the outside.
As they come off turn number 3, they got the backstretch. This track is not set up like other racetracks. There's no stands on the backstretch, not on the front stretch. But there is a Love's truck stop just off of the backstretch down Route 203.
Good to know in case we gotta run out of the broadcast booth and make a pit stop of our own later on. Everybody's starting to get single filed out here. Have a battle back around 12th between McNeil and Colby. Jonathan Duncan just in front of them. Like we might have had a car with an issue. The 55 off pace. I think he just got a little loose off the turn exit. Keeping it going though. Side-by-side racing here for 12th. Again, they tuck back in line. Everybody really preferring this middle lane early in the race. Now Finnegan working around Brian Smith. This is for second. Neck and neck down the front stretch.
Yeah, it looks like Brian Smith's making that outside kind of work for him. That wall just likes to come out and grab you as you come off to turn 1. And also it's kind of weird that they have a crossover gate here at Gateway, so you don't take a tunnel into the infield. But Shane, it's the only racetrack on the NASCAR Cup circuit that has an infield go-kart track.
Ooh.
They call it the Kartplex.
I like it. So Smith able to hold off Finnegan's charge. Those two tucking back in line. Got a good battle shaping up here between Gunther and Widener. And then Delph going to join the party. The 72 going to take that spot away from the 95. And here's Ryan Patty joining the party. Patty started 25th. That's not usually the speed we expect out of him in qualifying. I wonder if he had an issue. Either way, I would expect him to move towards the front. One of our playoff drivers. And while we're talking about that, let's go ahead and take a look at those playoff points. Brian Smith is the leader, as I mentioned. He's got a 61 points, in fact, lead over the cutoff line as we start this round. So unless he has some major issues, he should be okay. And Finnegan with 32 points of buffer between him and the cutoff line. I think those two are sitting pretty. Then Jacob Smith and Ryan Patty and Braxton DeWeese round out the top 5 in points. DeWeese just 9 points over that cut line. I mean, that's just a single stage worth of points. So he's going to have to stay solid and consistent. And as I say that, we've got a driver off pace. Looks to be the 88. As our first caution comes out.
Oh no.
Take a look back at what happened to Camburn. He might have already started here. Go back a little bit. Oh, I see it now. He went off track more than once. '88 just coming through the turns. He's kind of all by himself, and then it just goes around on him. Down into the grass. No contact, though. I think as far as a single car spin here at Gateway, you're lucky not to make contact with either the outside or inside wall, so consider that a win for the 88. He's going to have a chance to reset. Again, we're looking at those playoff points. Once you get past those top 4 or so, DeWeese, Neal, Taylor, Van Schaik, McNeil, Colby, Purcell, and Duncan, all separated by just about 11 points. And even coming into this, we got Chuck Van Schaik and John McNeil actually tied right at the cutoff line. So all of these drivers cannot afford to have a race-ending crash. They're going to need to be disciplined enough to get stage points without taking too many risks to jeopardize how they're going to finish at the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, now we're starting to see the that those races dwindle down. Now it's all about making race wins. Not really, you can't afford to point in really anymore.
While all this was happening, it looks like Kyle Diaz has had some sort of issue as well. I think he might have even started the race late, Alan.
Oh no.
Go take a look. Yeah, I've got him scored 10 laps down. I can take a look. I have a sort of issue here. It's kind of clipping the edge of the track. Then down into the grass. Yeah, almost looks like he's having some hardware issues. Then hard into the wall and either disconnects or tows. Either way, Diaz not having the start of the night he was looking for. He is in the pits with a meatball flag 10 laps down. Other drivers a lap down. There's only one. Jake Champion is 1 lap down right now and still in the pits as well. He's coming out now. I'm not sure. I didn't see him have any contact in that caution, but must have had something going on with that 27.
Oh boy. We're getting ready to come back to green flag racing now. As that Iracing pace car peels off on the front stretch pit road here.
Mike Taylor trying to make the most of this restart. He's on the outside of Finnegan. He's going to take third. There they are. The 1, 2, 3 for Buddy Motorsports right now. Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, and Mike Taylor. Their 4th teammate, Cody Neal, just outside the top 10. So really good night. Great start for Buddy Motorsports here at Gateway.
Yeah, working our way to lap number 30 here for stage 1. So far, it's been all Jacob Smith all night long. I don't think before too long, Brian Smith is going to be content following Jacob around this 1.25 mile speedway.
I agree, Alan. I think you can only stare at one bumper for so long before you just got to start making some moves to change the scenery.
Look, he's either going to want some Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or he's going to want the lead. He may want both. I'm not for sure.
On the move. Got a handful of drivers that have made some moves here tonight. We had mentioned Ryan Patty. He's now up 10 positions in 15th. And then Colby, Widener, Bloon, and Tizio all up 4 positions from where they started. So those are the drivers moving forward right now. These two continuing to play nicely.
So far. Could you imagine Thanksgiving dinner at the Smith's household? And you know, okay, who starts the trash talking first at the Thanksgiving dinner table? Brian or Jacob? I'll just put this out there and theoretically.
Ooh, I don't know. I do have to say, I think I asked them early on in the season. They are not actually related.
Oh, okay.
But they are good.
Brian is definitely more superior in his driving than Jacob is. But right now, Jacob's showing Brian how it's done here at Gateway as we roll tide here with Patrick Colby and that number 28 car, the Dragonfly Racing. And guess who's got right behind him? Cody Neal out of Buddy Motorsports in that number 38 car, as they're, you know, just being patient, buying their time. We got about 10 laps to the end of the stage.
And McNeil thought about going to the inside of the 38, but couldn't make it stick.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these drivers are just wanting to, you know, this is one of those tracks, either you're good here or it's like Darlington, you're just wanting to get through it. Like a lot of these drivers were last week. Braxton Deweese always loves racing tracks like this, where it takes a lot of car control. He's very good at what he does there in that number 8. James on main. Ooh, we had a little bit of an issue there.
Yeah.
That was Purcell.
And the 0-1 of Kyle Purcell, he got loose. Saved it right away, though. But cost him a position to Glazer, and now Adam Ball trying to get by, too. Ryan Patty continuing his charge to the front. He's going to get around Kevin Gunther. That puts him in 13th position.
Real surprised no one broke out of Budweiser's game here, since we are in the home of Anheuser-Busch and all.
I know you and I wouldn't be able to resist if we were in the race. So right now, still Jacob Smith up front. Led 22 laps so far tonight. Brian Smith has led just one of them. And that might have only been like the initial green flag wave. He might have beat him to the line. Otherwise, it's been all Jacob up front. These three continue to tighten up the battle for 4th. Mike Taylor, Braxton Deweese, Bentley Glazer. Tonight's race, Hunter stage. My crew chief notes are correct.
Well, I mean, at least someone here in the booth got notes. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you haven't started using it, Garage 61 is a pretty fancy and handy tool. You can compare your lap times to other drivers' times, and even see their fuel. That's how I run my calculations, run on there and just kind of grab an average fuel usage here for the next gen car at Gateway.
We got about 6 laps to go until now 5 laps to go until we reach the end of stage number 1. And right now it's been all Jacob Smith and all Brian Smith leading the way. It is no surprise that the top 3 haven't been. They're just magnets. They just race around each other all the time. Michael Taylor, the other Buddy Motorsports car back there in 4th position. Here we are at Gateway, though, or Worldwide Technology Raceway. As here's Shane. I don't know if Richmond Raceway does this, but they will put up Worldwide Technology will put up Christmas lights. They can drive through on the racetrack through the pit area, and they call it the Wonderlights Christmas Spectacular, where you enter the racetrack and then you drive through the Christmas lights. And I will say this: I always get the urge to warm up my tires every time I go out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I can't say we have that at Richmond. The city and kind of the metro area of Richmond has a tradition called the Tacky Light Tour, where anyone's house who has over 30,000 bulbs or LEDs can register to join the tour. And then there's an app you can get, so you can throw the kids in the car, drive around the week before Christmas around there, and you kind of know where all the best lit houses are. And if you don't have kids, you can hire kind of an Uber service, bring your adult beverages with you, and enjoy the evening checking it out. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. Some of these houses, you wonder if they're related to Clark Griswold.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
this battle for 4th has become a battle for 3rd as Finnegan's kind of dropped back into the clutches of the 08 and the 8. And there they go. They're going to get him side by side. Braxton trying to decide who to follow through here.
I don't know. It looks like he's going to go with Finnegan. Michael Taylor might be trying to slide up right and kill Braxton DeWeese's run.
Oh, a little bit of contact. That's going to push Finnegan up out of the line. Give the position to Taylor. DeWeese trying to make it a 2-for-1, and he's gonna do it, I think. Not quite clear. Finnegan fighting back on the outside. DeWeese gonna have to tuck him behind him, and there is the stage caution. Jacob Smith wins stage 1. Brian Smith in 2nd. Then it's going to be Mike Taylor, Nathan Finnegan, Braxton DeWeese, your top 5 here for stage 1. As the drivers all get caught up and decide whether or not to hit pit road, we're going to step away for our first commercial break of the night. We'll be right back for the start of stage 2 with the Icon Cup Series on SRM. Welcome back to the Icon Cup Series at Worldwide Technology Speedway at Gateway here on SRM. You got Shane Cochran and Alan Bergen in the booth. We just wrapped up stage one. So far, it's been Jacob Smith leading basically every lap here in the race. Brian Smith, his teammate, is about looking low. He sticks it in there. Then up high, Purcell on the 01, trying to find a third groove. Not going to work as he slaps the wall.
They're getting pretty racy right now as Michael Taylor and Nathan Finnegan going at it right now. And that's just behind Jacob Smith. Brian Smith now says he's had enough of riding behind Jacob in the 4-car. He's going to go ahead and just take the lead there. Cal Purcell out of Chicagoland Racing. He's riding back there, rounding out their top 5 as we are going to go single filed out. Coming down the back straightaway. Per status quo.
Yeah, some great racing there in stage one. A number of drivers grabbing stage points. Again, we take a look at those playoff points coming into this round of 12. Drivers like Cody Neal, Michael Taylor, Van Schaik, McNeil, Colby, Purcell, and Duncan, they all need to grab as many points as they can, both in the stages and at the end. Michael Taylor picking up 8 points in that first stage. That's going to help him kind of pull ahead of that pack. Braxton DeWeese picked up 6. So a number of drivers kind of adding to that gap back to the cut line already here in just the first stage of the first race in this round. Because if you get all the way to New Hampshire here in 2 weeks and you get caught in an accident, these stage points you pick up now could be your saving grace.
Right here, working lap number 39. As Chris Luis checking in for the evening here. Want to thank everybody watching here on YouTube and commenting here in the YouTube.com live chat. Chris Luis checking in as always. Lucas Wurtenberger always wanting to free Vinny. We're not freeing Vinny. We don't have the power to free Vinny, nor do we want to.
That's pretty good. We made it 40 laps before they brought it up, though.
The big dog Shane Lake checking in, saying, telling us to have a good night or a good show. It's always a good show, especially here at Gateway or Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, as they call it here, just nestled outside the Gateway Arch as the home of Anheuser-Busch and a lot of famous people out of the St. Louis area, like John Goodman. The 1904 World's Fair happened in St. Louis.
And it looks like the 01 of Purcell, he is still trying to make that high line work. Just as I say it, he kind of tucks in the middle, but he had been up there looking for clean air. Didn't seem to be gaining him anything, but it wasn't losing him anything either. And there's our third caution of the night. Kevin Gunther and Sean Purcell both involved in this one here on lap 42. We're going to take a look back at what happened. Starting with Gunther. They're racing bumper to bumper. Ooh, just disagreed on the braking point there into the turn. Both of them into the wall and then into each other for a second time. Can't imagine the 74 is going to be too happy with that one.
No.
Let's watch that one more time from inside the car with the 31. Yeah, just a little late on the brakes or a little high on the entry line. I think he had a chance there to dive under the 74, but he didn't quite get under him. right there, a couple drivers hitting pit road. Looks like Braxton Deweese might have picked up a black flag for speeding on pit entry. That's going to set him back. Saw that 8 car running consistently up in the top 5 through the first stage, start of the second one here.
That's no good for anybody.
Have to keep an eye on that. I'm still seeing that black flag, so that might be one he gets stuck having to serve under green. Could be a pass through or stop and go. Braxton just going to need to serve that penalty and do everything he can to stay on the lead lap doing it. Oh, Chris Deweese checking in, say it was actually a passing under yellow. He might have gotten on pit road out of order.
We got to make Chris DeWeese our pit reporter.
Does seem to have all of the inside info when we need it. Go back and see. Get Braxton's entrance to pit road. See why. You know, I wonder if it's he was actually behind. There it is, Purcell and Taylor. They both stay out though.
Oh, okay, here it is.
Down on this kind of access road, it's kind of hard to tell where the cars are that you need to stay behind. Right there, he looks like he's okay, but right, oh, you can see Taylor actually checked up on the racetrack.
Yep.
Maybe adjusting his headset or his driving rig or something. That caught Braxton. Really unfortunate there for the 8. So with that, we're going to reset. Gonna be Jacob Smith up front with Mike Taylor on the outside. Kyle Purcell and Jonathan Duncan in row 2. And Brian Smith, not even in the top 10, all the way back in 13th. Might have to check on what happened to him on pit road to lose so many positions. And it might just be that he was the first one to come to pit road. That's what it was.
Speaking of Smith, Jacob Smith has got a hell of a jump there. Coming back to green, but here comes Michael Taylor, the 2 best running Buddy Motorsports teammates right now. We are single filed out for the time being.
Brian Smith back there is 3 wide. Ooh, just off the nose of Tizio.
Oh boy. We're having some kind of fun now.
Yeah, so let's check in on our pit strategy here. As you see, basically starting with Smith and Finnegan, then Patty and on back. That's everyone who stopped under that last caution. But a whole bunch of drivers up front. Everyone 8th on up. Did not stop that time. They're on about 14 lap older tires, hitting under the stage brake. So Brian on the move, and Patty and Finnegan coming with him. There goes Ryan Patty to the inside of Nate Finnegan. Not quite going to clear him. We've seen it. It's just been really hard to complete a pass here tonight, especially if the guy you're passing sticks to that high line. Oh, and Patty drifts up.
Oh.
Might have made contact with Widener. He's going to throw it in there and try to slide up in front of the 6. But Finnegan holds his line. stomps the gas and pulls back side by side on the outside. This is the battle of the night so far. Widener and Colby just in front of them. Not a lot of room here. And they're battling too, and there goes the 95, turned around. Down into the grass.
That's gonna be yellow.
There it is, fourth caution of the night. We were watching it live. Just a lot of action there as those two cars on fresh tires fought Widener and Colby. The pressure was on.
The wrong time.
So let's go back and watch that one more time. We're going to take a look. Those four cars all right on top of each other. Widener's car already looks like it's kind of kicked out the rear there on entry. Slides up into the 28. And as he gets back into the gas, car comes around on him. You know, if you're down on the low line here at Gateway, trying to stay out of that car on your outside, you're going to have a lot of wheel in it. And hitting the gas a little too aggressive. Going to send that 95 around. With that, that's going to kind of flip-flop the pit strategy. I imagine most of the drivers who pitted under that last caution going to stay out. A lot of the drivers that didn't are going to come in. But up front, still Jacob Smith. Now 43 laps led on the night. And I know he's running a Batman scheme, but every time I see it, I think it's a spirit of Halloween.
Wait, you mean you have Spirit Halloweens out there?
I think everybody does. I think it's
Richmond, Virginia?
Oh, we absolutely do. We even have one that they call the flagship location, which I don't know what that means, but apparently that's where you want to go.
Well, here in St. Louis, it's kind of take over any store that's been abandoned.
You got Chris DeWeese asking why they got an EOL and still had to do a stop and go. Good question.
Well, that's the admin.
Well, I think the stop and go, one of those would have come from Iracing, if not both.
I've never had an EOL and a stop and go in the same penalty.
Unless he got two.
Unless he got busted for speeding.
I only see one black flag in the registry, so was there. You know, it might have been again, I'm just kind of conjecturing. Couldn't see what was on the screen there for Braxton, but a lot of times if you get a speeding on pit entry, you'll get a time penalty that you can serve during that pit stop. But if you service the car and don't serve that penalty, that might be what kind of piled on, because you would have had that. But it's hard to say. Hard to say, Chris, from up here in the booth, what happened to Braxton there. But we are coming back to green here. 53 laps in the books. Jacob Smith, Mike Taylor out front, Jonathan Duncan, and Kyle Purcell in row 2. Then Brian Smith with those fresher tires, sitting in 5th place on the outside of Cody Neal. And we've been mentioning it all night, but let's do it one more time, because right now 4 Buddy Motorsports cars are in the top 6. They have it dialed in here tonight.
Absolutely. Here comes Kyle Purcell out of the Chicagoland Racing stable. He is up there in that 3rd position.
And we're hoping Fruit Snacks stays off the keyboard tonight. Lets Kyle have a clean run in that 0-1. He is looking for second place. Down on the inside of the 08. And Taylor drifts up high. Little too much speed on the excuse me, on corner entry there, and that's going to bring Brian Smith to his inside as well. Now the 08 with a crossover on the 01. Both of these drivers throwing it in there. Now. Oh, they're a little tight on exit. That's going to let Jacob Smith start to pull away. Now the half second between the leader and this battle we're watching now. They're still side by side, and Brian Smith is just tucked in behind, waiting to see one of these lanes is going to the front.
Michael Taylor is not wasting any time right now trying to get around Michael.
Oh, Neil and Finnegan together.
Oh, no. And they all scramble like they're being chased by the cops on I-270.
Whew. I saw Finnegan get into the wall, but I didn't see anybody else make contact with him. Back and take a look. We've got a 4-car battle here. Patty, Duncan, Neil, and Finnegan. Coming out of the turn. Neil and Finnegan just both going for the same piece of real estate. And the 38 almost saves it, then gets into the corner of the 6. That sends Finnegan into the wall, Neil through the grass, then Delph slides through the grass. At least one other car got sideways up through the grass there. But everybody escaping without too much damage, it looks like. We had been running a poll here in the live chat tonight to see which of the top 3 drivers at the beginning of stage 2 everyone thought would be the favorite for tonight's race. Nathan Finnegan won the vote with 66%, but that was before he got turned into the wall, battling there with Cody Neal. So we're going to re-rack them one more time. Again, the stage ends at lap 80. We've got 20 more laps to go. Get to that stopping point. I think everyone can make it on fuel, including these drivers up front that have not pitted since the stage break, just because all these cautions are helping their fuel mileage. Look through who's been fastest on track tonight. Now the fastest lap in the whole race is our leader Jacob Smith with a 33.16. Brian Smith has come within 100th of a second of that time, and then Finnegan close behind. Cody Neal and Kyle Purcell also fast on track. Purcell really having a great night. Oh, 1. I mean, again, he came in 2 points below the cut line. We still got 3 races to go counting this one, but every point helps. Running up front gives you confidence, and doing it at the stage breaks gives you points. That 0-1. Really making a run here to start this round of the playoffs. See that stopped more recently than those two. And there they go. Jacob Smith with a great jump at the green flag. That's going to try to bring Michael Taylor with him on the bottom. As Purcell
is back up towards the front.
There he is.
Brian Smith lurking around back there in that, I want to say third position.
And Patty coming with him. Those two have both been marching through the field since they got some fresh tires. Back on lap 43. Smith up to third as he gets around his teammate Taylor. Again, we kind of single file out pretty quickly. Checking in on that 8 car. He picked up that penalty. He had to serve an EOL and a stop and go. He's all the way up to 12th. Battling here with the 15 of Tizio. And they're 3 wide. Back with Nate Finnegan, Kevin Gunther, and Ethan Van Collie. Brad Delph joining the battle. You take a look at Finnegan's drive tonight. I mean, he was running consistently up into the top 5. Then came in and pitted, got 4 tires. Back around lap 40. That dropped him to 15th. And as he was battling up, we saw him get caught up in that last caution, dropping him down to 24th. But he is already back to 15th right now. Cody Neal into the wall. No damage though. Then up front, Mike Taylor now battling with Kyle Purcell as Brian Smith has gotten P2 away from him. Ooh, they touch. Still side by side.
Now the urgency is picking up as we get closer to the end of the stage here. Stage 2 coming to a close, and right now it's been Brian Smith, or Jacob Smith rather, out front of Brian Smith. Right now you're watching this battle between Michael Taylor and Kyle Purcell, and you can even also insert Ryan Patty into that mix.
Now, Ryan has just looked so patient tonight. A number of times we've seen him kind of right up behind a 2-car battle. And rather than throwing it 3 wide and pushing somebody into the wall, he just kind of bides his time. But right there, though, he drifts up into Purcell. Purcell goes up the track and into the wall. Didn't look like hard contact, though. That's going to drop him back to 6th. Patty up to 4th. Colby now in the top 5. Finnegan now working on the 95 of Widener. This is a battle for 13th. Luis now into the top 10. And look at his journey here tonight. Kind of the same thing we saw from Finnegan. Running up consistently in the top 5 early, then caught up in an accident. Dropped all the way to 24th and has battled his way back up into the top 10 here. Oh, almost contact. He gets away.
They scrambled like scrambled eggs.
Unscathed. I think that was Van Schaik. Got loose and came across the track, and there is a caution. The 6th one of the night. I think maybe McNeil. He is, it's not saying he crashed, but he is separated from the pack. Go back a lap and ride along with the 48. He's right there with Widener and Finnegan. And there it is. He reacted to Van Schaik getting sideways, spins it through the grass. Pretty impressive to keep it out of the wall. Let's go back and watch that from inside the cockpit with the 48. You hear how long they're off the throttle. Then right there, ooh, yeah, no, really no time to react at all. But McNeil able to keep it out of the wall, and that could save his race. So we've got just a handful of drivers coming to pit road. Adam Ball, Jake Champion, Sean McNeil, Sean Purcell, Percy and Bloon also in. 70 laps in the books. Almost to halfway with 75 left to go, but we got that stage break coming at lap 80. See in the live chat, Chris DeWeese saying he's got 5 TVs going. That's going to beat my 4 monitors. I want to know what's on your other 4 TVs, Chris. Now that we've had a couple yellows, we're going to check in on our wrench wranglers. These are drivers who have made the most repairs. Jake Champion, over 3 minutes of repairs. Riding around 23rd, it looks like right now. Still on the lead lap, I believe. Sean Purcell with 2 minutes. 46 seconds, he's still on the lead lap. So a lot of these drivers taking these cautions in stride, making repairs as they can. But none of these drivers with more than a minute of damage have broken into the top 20 since then, so they're going to need to make use of those repairs. Right back up in there. But up front is still Jacob Smith. Now 61 laps led for that 4 car. Only other drivers even leading a single lap are Brian Smith and Kyle Purcell. So Kyle kind of get the door from Ryan Patty on that last run. See if he takes that personal. He is not too far behind Patty here on this restart. Pace car hits pit road. We go green for the 7th time tonight. It's an all-Smith front row. Jacob and Brian. Mike Taylor right there. Ryan Patty. And now Jonathan Duncan. We've said his name a few times here tonight, but I don't think it's been in the top 5. Got Patrick Colby down to the inside of the 13.
And here comes Brian Smith linking to the outside. He's going to bring Ryan Patty right along with them, as him and Ryan Patty and Michael Taylor right now are Goodyear to Goodyear, coming out of turn number 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway. And you can say that about Jacob Smith and Brian Smith.
To do-si-do and grab your partner. Let's go. Patty and Smith both into the wall. And Brian.
Drag racing.
Now way up high. We've seen that happen a couple times to drivers as they try to battle it out hard in that middle lane. They'll drift up high and lose some momentum, and that's going to let the 4 back to the lead and let the 08 to the inside.
Michael Taylor trying to get around Brian Swifter at 2nd position.
Oh,
we have 6 laps to go left in the stage.
That 78 is loose, Alan. Loose is fast, but it is uncomfortable too.
Loose is fast unless you're on a flat track. Then it's unsettling. 3 wide as Braxton DeWeese trying to stay out of his own way right now.
A couple drivers moving back into the top 10 here. Finnegan and Neal both involved in incidents. The 01 who had gotten Kind of pushed out of the way by Patty at one point. Riding in 9th, Braxton DeWeese rebounding to 10th. 10th place is a stage point for these playoff drivers. Now Finnegan and Duncan battling side by side. Duncan gonna try to pull ahead.
All over the racetrack.
That's gonna bring Cody Neal in as the 13 drifts up the track. Checking in on Duncan. He's just been kind of steadily moving forward and then sitting around the top 5 here in the second stage. Cody Neal gonna grab that position. That's for 7th. Up front though, it's still Jacob Smith. Mike Taylor about 4/10 back, with Ryan Patty all over his mirror. Now Duncan looking inside of Cody Neal. Just 4 laps to go in the stage. Taylor drifts up. That's going to give Patty a run down low. Can he make it stick? Not going to get it done that time. 2 laps to go.
This is the best battle on the racetrack right now between Ryan Patty and Michael Taylor. As we're not missing anything up front with Jacob Smith, but Ryan Patty thinking better of it out of Boston, Massachusetts.
And Ryan all the way down to 3rd. We saw drivers shift into 4th earlier, but he is dropping all the way down to 3rd gear to help that car rotate. And then all the way to 5th as he comes down the front stretch. You see how aggressive that downshift is, Alan. I mean, he's dropping from 5th to 3rd on entry.
I mean, you almost have to.
That tells me this car is tight, tight, tight. As he drifts up a little bit high. Finnegan now battling with Neal. As DeWeese is now up to 8th position.
Whoa, we got trouble. We got trouble. On the last lap of the stage.
Oh, DeWeese,
no,
Patty,
Patty,
Purcell. All involved in that
had
one.
to be a hardware failure. That's got to be a hardware failure.
And that is going to be the stage here. I'm not sure where that one started, so let's take a look.
I think Ryan just got a little bit loose on the corner and thought he could save it.
Is everybody? Got Purcell and
There
Glazer.
he is.
Yeah, Patty would be in front of these group here. Oh, he's already around. Let's back that one up. Racing hard with Taylor. Coming down the backstretch. Oh, wow. Patty made a move to the inside and Mike Taylor blocked it. And then Patty made an aggressive adjustment to then go high. And that just took the rear end out of the track. Go back and watch the lap leading up to that incident. So Patty and Taylor battling hard. Patty gets a run. He's going to shoot to the inside. And then when Taylor blocks it, he tries to go high and it just goes around on him. Oh, hard contact to the front of the 8. Then Glazer goes around. Watch this one again. This time on board with the 8 of Braxton DeWeese. You can see just tight, hard racing all through the field. He's chasing down Finnegan and Neal. And then you can see Patty getting squirrely up ahead. Everybody going high to get around it. DeWeese just can't fit through there. It was less than a car width. Blazer gets sideways, couple drivers in the grass. Wild finish here to stage 2. Starting with Ryan Patty on the backstretch. With that, we got drivers, almost the whole field coming to pit road. A little bit of pit strategy has brought Adam Ball out in front. He went fuel only on that stop, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are working our way towards the beginning of the stage break. And, well, here we are getting ready to get back to green flag racing for the start of stage number 3.
Got 62 laps to go. About 50% bigger than our fuel window, so driver's gonna have to pit at least once. If we catch some cautions, we might see some drivers pitting more than that to get fresh tires. But let's take a look at Adam Ball's trajectory tonight. He's been floating right around 8th place pretty much the whole race. Took 4 tires a little while back, dropped down to 19th, and then fought his way back to 13th. Went fuel only on that stop to put himself up front and in the lead. And this will be the first time we've seen someone on a drastically different tire strategy. We'll see how long that 19 can hold position up front. Gonna start on the outside. Great start there. Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, Mike Taylor, Patrick Colby, Nathan Finnegan. All right there with him. Oh, and Brian Smith is loose. That's going to send Taylor and somebody else into the wall. I think that's
got a pile up.
Buddy Motorsports teammates. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And everybody just racing tight. I believe this starts with the 78. We get this. The 78 gets loose and checks up. Finnegan into the 08. Everybody banging bumpers back in the field. There's another car. I think that's McNeil that goes around. Cody Neal and Mike Taylor catch the worst of it down into the grass. See, heavy wheel damage to the 38. Not what you're hoping to see. So Adam Ball still out front, and with that, we're going to take our second commercial break of the race and be back here for more action in Stage 3 of the Icon Cup Series on SRM. And we are heading back to green flag here in stage 3. Another caution has taken out a number of playoff drivers, but it's Adam Ball out front right now, leading Jacob Smith, Patrick Colby, and Bentley Glazer. Ball on older tires than everyone else behind him. That clean air going to help the 19 stay out front for now. Jacob Smith in second with Patrick Colby now third. Then Bentley Glazer in fourth. Van Schaik and Gunther battling for fifth. Oh, we got a driver up into the wall. That's Anthony Tizio, the 15. And he's going around. That's going to be another yellow flag, our 9th of the night. Go back and see what happened to Tizio. John McNeil also caught up in that one. That light blue and dark blue car, the 15, gets some help from the 85. Up into the wall and then down into the 48. Oh. And I think the 48 and Finnegan might have had some contact. Let's jump on board with John McNeil. We've been on board with him for accidents more than he'd like us to here tonight. Maybe a little bit of contact there. Should be able to continue though. McNeil still on the lead lap in 20th position after that caution. And the field going to split in half on who decides to come to pit road and who decides to stay out. Adam Ball still out front. Took fuel only on his last stop back on lap 81. But he hasn't taken tires since around lap 68. Certainly at a disadvantage, but with all of these cautions, he kind of gets out to a nice lead on a restart. And those tires don't have time to catch up with him before another caution comes out. We've been talking all race about how our playoff drivers cannot afford any serious contact or accidents that's going to cost them a solid finish. But now looking through, Cody Neal still in the pits after that last caution 2 cautions ago, still with a meatball flag. He's 4 laps down. Braxton DeWeese tagging Ryan Pitts, trying to make repairs, but his night is effectively over. Then Michael Taylor and Nathan Finnegan still out there racing. Right now they're in the pits making repairs, and they are going to be in a hurry to beat this pace car out and stay relevant in this race. We saw Kyle Purcell also have some issues at one point or another. He's running 12th though. Still in a position to get some more good points. Jacob Smith up in second. Brian Smith now in 11th. He decided to pit there just a couple laps ago on lap 85. So big implications for our playoff drivers. Jonathan Duncan also caught up in some of that. He came in just 2 points below the cut line. He is in 19th, just ahead of Nathan Finnegan and Mike Taylor. This has been a rough night for our playoff drivers. You come into a new round, this round of 12, thinking, okay, I've got some breathing room. I don't have to panic. Got 3 races to get it done. And then you get wrecked out and have a DNF. That puts you on the back foot. Battling through this whole round, but Adam Ball still out front. Jacob Smith in second. Bentley Glazer third. Patrick Colby fourth. Down low, Chuck Van Schaik in 5th. We get it racing here with 53 to go. Our fuel window closer to 41. So everybody still got to stop. And Jacob Smith throws it down on the bottom as Ball tries to pin him down, not able to hold. Jacob Smith back to the lead. Going to lead his 75th lap of the night as Bentley Glazer takes second. or tries to from Ball. Then just behind them, Van Schaik and Colby are side by side. The action only ramping up from here. The more drivers having big issues tonight, I think the more that puts the pressure on drivers in the playoffs, knowing they need a solid night, some comfortable points. Side by side, the 01 and the 55 now. Then Brian Smith inside of the 74. That's Sean Purcell. This is a battle for 8th. Smith marching forward. He is on fresher tires than these other cars around him. Ooh, and he has to check up. Get some contact there from the 74 behind him, and now he's into the 55. Champion now to the outside of the 74. He's got to check up. Brad Delph just behind him. Some awkward moments here in this battle for 10th.
Awkward to say the least.
They seem to have it mostly sorted out. Delph and Champion still side by side. A little further up, Gunther and Colby with Widener in there for a three-way battle for 5th. And these are some names we've talked about, but not up front like this. Gunther having a great showing here. You see he started about 13th, dropped all the way to 23rd to make repairs, and then took 4 tires on his last stop around lap 80. Got himself up into the top 5. Just behind him, we got Widener. Very up and down for that 95, as low as 23rd. Back around lap 50 and has been marching forward ever since. Now up to 6th. But he's got a mirror full of Patrick Colby and Brian Smith.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of Charlie Widener.
No,
not by a long shot.
95 looking strong. He throws it in a little too steep on that one. Has to check up. That lets Gunther back in front of him. But up front, Jacob Smith driving away, but Bentley Glazer sticking right with him. And those two are gapping the field. 2 seconds back to Adam Ball in 3rd, then a half second back to everybody else. You take a look at Glazer's night, starting in 10th, working his way up, and then kind of just muddled around there between 10th and 15th for most of the race. For the last few cautions, he stayed out, getting his 4 tires back around lap 80. Now riding in 2nd and chasing down our leader. Impressive run here at the end of the race for that 87 Mountain Dew Chevrolet of Bentley Glazer.
One thing I do want to point out, Braxton DeWeese had a good run going here tonight. Wonder why he didn't use that fast repair. These guys do get 1 fast repair. A little surprised he didn't use it.
No, I think that is actually a typo on my part, Alan. There are no fast repairs here with Icon. I had thrown that in the race info. Yeah, nobody using a fast repair here tonight. So Brian Smith now up to 4th. Widener and Van Schaik battling for 5th place. And Glazer staying in lockstep with our leader, Jacob Smith. Take a look at our fastest 5 for 5. And the fastest 5 drivers on the track for the last 5 laps are your top 5 drivers. For the least insightful stat of the night. There you go.
Those 5 drivers have really got something figured out here at this racetrack.
They do, and they're even on different tire strategies, but still getting it done. And Adam Ball, again, I don't think he's taken tires since lap 60, 62 or so. And he's holding his own in 3rd, holding off Brian Smith right behind him. Brian getting tires back around lap 80. A 78 doing everything he can to get caught up to the 19. Back behind them, though, Gunther, Van Schaik, Purcell are all right on top of each other. Oh, and Gunther has to check up. Goes across the nose of Patrick Colby, who dives underneath of him.
I like this battle right here with Van Schaik and Kyle Purcell in that 0-1 car here on lap 105.
You talked a lot about the 01's night. He was just kind of riding around the top 5, top 10, then getting caught up in a little bit of contact, needing to make some repairs. Dropped all the way back to 20th and has raced his way back to 6th. And that's kind of been the story of the night, Alan. There's a handful of drivers that were caught up in some incidents and have raced their way back into the top 10, and a handful of drivers who were caught up in an incident that ended their night.
And those drivers that were caught up in those incidents and raced their way back into the top 10, those are going to be your championship contenders. So they can take a bad night and they can salvage it into a decent night.
Riding right now with Jake Champion, trying to fight his way into the top 10. And he has had repair after repair after repair all night long. Started 13th, dropped as low as 26th. Got his car in 11th right now, and he is knocking on the door of the top 10. Up front, though, Jacob Smith starting to pull ahead from Bentley Glazer. And they've got a 3-second gap back to Brian Smith in the 78. Almost 4 seconds now. Closest battle on the track is between Champion in the 27 and Mike Grinnell in the 55. Nathan Finnegan again was our live chat pick to win this thing. He's been caught up in a couple incidents.
I think I picked him to win this thing too.
Still got 36 laps to go and at least one pit stop for every driver on track.
But when you take it, do you take it early? Do you take it late?
Well, I think personally, I always love to go as long as I can and hope for a caution. Because I think we've had 7 or 8 here tonight. Chances are you're going to get one more at some point. Take that green flag cycle and get caught a lap down. You know, it's one thing if you're the only car 1 lap down, but if a whole bunch of people are in that green flag cycle right in the middle, you get stuck with a group and everybody wants to be the lucky dog. That can kind of take you out of contention, but I can concede that that's a conservative strategy. It looks like Finnegan,
I concur,
coming to pit road. 6 car going to be the first one to do it. Adam Ball actually was the first. He's already on pit road. The Ball and Finnegan going to try to short pit. See if they can use fresh tires to gain some track position. As it looks like Gunther is headed to pit road as well. And again, we'll check on our pit stats. So most of these drivers, including our leader, have been out there for about 30 laps. There's 33 to go. So if you're going to split this right down the middle, you're going to wait about 3 more laps to lap 115, then hit pit road.
I'm with you. I agree with your strategy. Go in as late as you can. Of course, that's why we're up here and they're down there.
Purcell now up to 4th as Glazer hits pit road. McNeil, Grenell, and Delph already there. See where these drivers come out. So Gunther, Finnegan, Ball, and McNeil, they're all a lap down as this cycle goes through, and that's what I mentioned. I get really nervous at a track like this where we've seen so many cautions. You're going to need to unlap yourself as fast as you can, as now our leader, Jacob Smith, hits pit road. That leaves the 78 out front. He's got a few more laps, or let me say, a few less laps on his tires, or at least on this run compared to some of the other drivers, so he could afford to stay out a little bit longer. Now we have just...
And I think that's exactly what he does.
There's just 14 drivers on the lead lap as this pit cycle is going through. 3 seconds back to the 95 of Charlie Widener. And about a half second back to the 01 of Kyle Purcell. Purcell, one of those drivers really needing a solid night of stage points and a good finish so that he is not behind the ball heading into the next 2 races of this round. And here comes Finnegan. You can see what fresh tires are worth. He's going to pass 3 cars in a single corner. Colby is now in on pit road. Ryan Patty is in. He did come back out on track at one point. He's 20 laps down. And now our leader, Brian Smith, headed to pit road. With that, the 95 of Charlie Widener will inherit the lead.
That all-important lap led on bonus point. Oh, so important, especially in a playoff scenario.
Absolutely. And now 5 drivers have led a lap here tonight. Jacob Smith has led 94. That's pretty much all of them. Brian Smith with 12. Adam Ball with 9. And then Widener and Purcell have picked up 1 so far. Widener going to get another one right here. Now we're coming down to it. 27 laps to go. Still a handful of drivers, about 12 of them that have not been to pit road yet. They can afford to go another 5 laps before they'd have to. I imagine they've got their fingers crossed for a caution.
Fingers, toes, you name the body part, they got to cross.
Champion now on pit road. Getting out of the 5th position. Widener still out there. The 0-1 of Purcell just behind him. That is for the lead. Van Schaik and Sean Purcell on pit road now. Colby trying to unlap himself. In 17th position, he's going to do it. But now, those drivers that pitted early, they've had time for those tires to work for them. They are not a lap down anymore. Looking back through, Jacob Smith is in 11th position. I think that Brian's... Wait. Jacob Smith pitted? He has. Actually in 8th position. The numbers updating faster than I can say them here through this green flag cycle. Got Bentley Glazer in 9th, just behind him. About 3 seconds back. Glazer is already battling with the 78. This is effectively for 3rd position. Or maybe 2nd, depending on how this all cycles out. Widener has now gone 40 laps. He's going to be in no more than 4 laps from now. Still battling with Purcell. These two might end up being the last to come to pit road. We're all spread out all the way around this very strangely shaped oval. Again, there's a, let's see, 22 cars still in the race of the 28 we started with. Did have a 29th driver join late and then park it. That was Kyle Diaz. Seemed to be having some network or hardware issues tonight. Right now, 14 cars still on the lead lap. That will become 21 if this green cycle works its way all the way through. We're watching Charlie Widener and Kyle Purcell. They are 1st and 2nd, but needing to come to pit road in the next couple of laps. Purcell can stay out a couple more than Widener. But at this point, their strategy play is hoping for a caution. They have lost so much lap time here on old tires that if they come in through the green flag cycle, I don't think they're going to be sitting in a good position. They're running just over a second slower than 4 fresh tires would be. Ethan Van Colley now on pit road. He was in 5th. Duncan and Smith now battling. Duncan has not pitted yet.
No, he's not. 19 laps to go. Jonathan Duncan not pitted yet, not been on pit road. Is he going to play the fuel mileage strategy and kind of make his bed and lie in it?
Take a look at it here. Jonathan Duncan is 36 laps into his run. He would need to go, well, too many. Again, we're pretty sure the fuel window is around 44 to 45 laps maximum. Charlie Widener is right there right now. So he might teach us something about how far you can stretch this. But I don't think Duncan can make it. That's going to be almost 60 laps he'd have to go. So looking through this, Jacob Smith is the first car that can definitely make it. He's in 4th right now, 16 seconds out of our leader, Kyle Purcell. And Kyle now in a load of traffic as all these drivers trying to get their lap back as fast as they can so they don't get stuck a lap down if a caution comes out. But it's kind of stacking them up as you see Van Schaik almost into McNeil there on entry. And this is dangerous. Right there, McNeil gets tight, slides up into the leader. The other two cars going by each side of Purcell. I think McNeil might have tagged the wall as well. Everybody getting their lap back for now. Widener now a second and a half behind the 01. Mike Taylor running third. He last pitted 39 laps ago, so he's going to have to hit pit road one more time. I don't know, though. Widener is now 47 laps into his run. He has proven my crew chief notes wrong. I know we had a couple, just a couple cautions in there back around lap 84 and 88. 15 to go. Widener still in second.
I mean, he is showing us how to save. There he goes.
There it is.
15 to go. He's going to come down pit road.
All right, so that tells us if you save as best as you can, 48 laps is as far as you can get on a tank. So Kyle Purcell going to be in the next couple of laps. Duncan would have to go 55 to make it to the end. I don't think he can do that. But he's still hoping for a caution. And as long as that caution comes out while he's on the lead lap, I think it works out for his strategy. But we have cycled through, at least for the lead. Jacob Smith now out front, 2.5 seconds back to his teammate, Brian Smith. And Bentley Glazer in third, another 2.5 seconds back from Brian. Battle shaping up here, though, as Finnegan goes around Duncan. We mentioned that 13 has not been to pit road here in the final cycle. Fresh tires on the 6, let him fly by. Finnegan now up to 4th. And he's had a wild night, Alan. Up and down like a yo-yo here tonight. As high as 3rd, that's where he started the race. Then dropping all the way to 24th at some point, pitting 4 times for tires, twice more for repairs. He's got that Iggy's number 6 up into the top 5. About a 5-second gap to 3rd place. But he's also got a second gap behind him to Patrick Colby. Now 12 laps to go.
We got a dozen laps left here to go. And it's been all Jacob Smith leading Brian Smith. No surprise here that we have a Smith on Smith battle for the lead.
Yeah, and as most of the top 10 is spaced out, we've got a heck of a battle right here. 5 cars, all of these cars battling for position for 8th place. And Purcell, they're that 4th car in line. He has the freshest tires of them all.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who has the freshest tires of them all? There it is, that number 95 car. Bentley Glazer solidly up there in that top 3 right now.
So with 10 to go, let's run through our top 10 drivers up front. Jacob Smith got a 3-second lead over Brian Smith. Has led 99 laps so far tonight. He has been the car to beat all night long. Then in second place, his teammate, Brian Smith. 11 wins on the season. In second place right now, driving that 78 Michigan Humane Society Mustang. Third place belongs to Bentley Glazer. About 3 seconds behind Brian Smith in front of him. Then it's a big 7-second gap back to 4th place, Nathan Finnegan. The YouTube live chat's pick to win this one. Not quite going to be within reach without the help of a caution. 5th place, Patrick Colby. He's just been consistently up there all night long. Dropped back a little bit on pit strategy. Locked into 5th right now. Kevin Gunther is 6th. Jonathan Duncan, you see behind him, he's a lap down at this point. So it is Adam Ball in 7th. We saw Adam use pit strategy to get himself to the lead and stay there for a number of laps. He led 9 before that tire strategy caught up with him, and he has dropped back to 7th, but still in the top 10, having a great run. Kyle Purcell in 8th. We saw him kind of all over the top 10 all race long, getting a little bit of contact with Ryan Patty racing hard at one point. That dropped him back a few positions, but he's rebounded to 8th. Then the 23, Chuck Van Schaik, running 9th. Solid run for the 23. Then in 10th place, John McNeil. I mean, we've been on board with him for multiple wrecks here tonight. So 10th place is certainly a victory, as he's got Jake Champion right on his bumper. That's the 11th place car. Yeah, I think John going to be pretty happy with a top 10 given what he's gone through here tonight.
Most definitely.
And the closest battle on track is for 4th between Finnegan and Colby. So we have just 5 laps to go. Colby using that low line. Gives him a lot of speed in the middle of the corner. But Finnegan able to carry the momentum down the straight. And with the sun going down, we can see sparks flying. These drivers are trying to get everything out of this track.
Trying to get everything out of the track and a little bit more here with 5 phalanges to go, 5 phalanges in the air, coming to get 4 to go. And that's going to be Jacob Smith there in that number 4 car, who's got a healthy 3-second gap between him and Brian Smith. But here's the best battle on the racetrack right now, as we are on board with Patrick Colby out of Montgomery, Alabama. Roll Tide and go Auburn.
Is that how it goes?
No, but we just look. We're gonna go. I don't want to offend all the Alabama fans out there, but you know, go Auburn.
See Colby here trying to track down Nathan Finnegan just in front of him. These two trading laps back and forth. Colby the fastest on that last lap. We got 3 laps to go. This is the battle to watch here in the closing laps. Colby looking low. Just can't get the throttle down on that low line the way that Finnegan can here in the middle lane. That lap, it was Finnegan 0.07 of a second faster. Now just 2 laps to go.
Just 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks are in the air. It's going to be anybody's race. No, not really. It's going to be Jacob Smith's race.
Now Jacob Smith out front. But again, a heck of a battle shaping up here for 4th between Nathan Finnegan and Patrick Colby. But for the last time out of turns 3 and 4, Jacob Smith leads 108 laps en route to victory here. Worldwide Technology Speedway at Gateway. And the 4 car is back in victory lane. Michael Taylor wrecking right at the finish line. Not having the finish he was looking for, as he was a lap down. As Finnegan stays ahead of Colby for 4th. Your podium. Gonna be Jacob Smith and Brian Smith. Then Bentley
What
Glazer.
a- I'm gonna say, what a good team win for Buddy Motorsports, bringing home 1-2 tonight. And Bentley Glazer, who's been on the podium numerous times here this season.
Yeah, their teammates not quite having the end they wanted. Cody Neal, DNF. Mike Taylor getting shuffled towards the back. He finished 16th, though. Jacob Smith burning it down here on the front stretch, celebrating the victory. Gonna be his third win this season. Came into tonight's race third in the points, behind only Brian and Nathan Finnegan. And this win gonna help pull him even further away from that cut line so he can relax and focus on winning the next couple weeks. As he heads out. We're gonna get our podium drivers up in the booth for a chat. Like we've got Brian and Jacob. So let's go ahead and pull in second place driver, this number 78, Brian Smith, for you, Alan.
Brian Smith, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going all right, Alan. Just didn't get the cards to fall our way or whatever they say. But we'll come out of here with a P2 and yeah, move on to Bristol.
Exactly, here. Bristol is next week. What's your mindset as we leave a track like Worldwide Technology Raceway and we head to a track like Bristol where you've been oh so good at these short tracks?
Yeah, Bristol's certainly somewhere I've had success at. I know I had a great finish there last year. It came down to the end, but just going to be kind of like racing at Daytona or Talladega, just trying to stay out of trouble. Got to qualify well and just try and keep the clean air. Like always in this car, that was the story tonight. It'll probably be the story at Bristol.
Awesome job. Well, once again, congratulations on PT. But before we get you out of here, Brian, who do you want to thank and who helped you get it done here on that 78 car?
Shout out to Jacob for getting the win. Apologies to everyone who got caught up in that incident that I checked up out of turn 2. I think that was start of the final stage or the second restart in the final stage. That was my fault. So I took the end of line penalty on that one. So apologies to anybody that got involved. I know I had a couple teammates involved in that one. So feel pretty bad about that. Wish we could have stayed up front. I really think I had something for Jacob on that long run, but never got a chance to showcase it. So we'll just have to try and keep the momentum going at Bristol. I was really looking for 5 in a row.
Awesome job tonight, regardless. And we'll see you next week at Bristol.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And that was Brian Smith, the 78. Doesn't look like Glazer is in our waiting room. We're going to go ahead and talk to our winner, Jacob Smith, in the 4. Jacob, you got a copy?
Yep, got a copy.
How about that? 108 laps led tonight. You looked pretty unstoppable, with the exception of a little bit of pit strategy here and there where you were dropped out of the lead. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, that was definitely a great win here to start the second round of the playoffs. I'm actually going to be missing New Hampshire, so pretty happy to get a win locked in here in the first race. Car felt really good all night, super balanced compared to A-Fix that have been running all week. So yeah, just stayed out of trouble, unlike Darlington last week where I felt fast, but it got involved in some incidents. So just really happy to come back and win this one this week.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, you just looked unstoppable. What was the secret to getting it done here at Gateway?
I think just saving the right front was a big one. So it kept the tires on it. Did a really good job saving tire all night. And yeah, you're right. I dropped out of the lead for a second. There was some pit strategy. I know Adam had a couple of yellows run off. So I knew I had to pass Adam pretty quick and just keep it in the lead. And I'm glad it ran green to the end. So yeah, just keeping the right sides on it really helped win the race tonight.
And it also looked like it was a great run for your team here at different points. Not quite the ending that some of them were looking for, but I think you had 4 drivers in the top 6 and 3 drivers in the top 3 for a good portion of the night. So a great run there for Buddy Motorsports. But who else you got to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, tonight I just got to thank Anthony Tizio from Great Lakes Racing. He made this unbelievable paint scheme. The Midwest Euro Parts Ford Mustang, throwing it back to the Dale Jarrett 1998 Batman car. So had it for Darlington. I think I'm going to keep it the rest of the season. This thing just looks absolutely amazing. So I'm really glad we can get this thing at Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. And an A+ on the burnout as well. You got the circles in. You got the nice straight line drag. I approve.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that was glad we didn't blow it up there at the end. We definitely walked the dog all the way back to the start finish line, or I'm sorry, the restart zone. So got a nice burnout in for everybody, and hope we can keep it going for next week at Bristol.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Is Bristol a place you look forward to, or kind of a dread going to?
Hard to tell. I haven't actually run Bristol all that much. I didn't run Gateway really at all before this week, so I'd have to turn a couple laps this week, see how it feels, and I don't know. Just hope I don't wreck out next week. That would suck. So if I can just get I would say top 10, top 5 even, I'd be happy at Bristol.
Well, right now you're the only driver safe heading into Bristol, so that's got to feel pretty good. You still don't want to wreck out, but knowing you're safe, there were a lot of drivers tonight. We talked about it pre-race, could not afford to get wrecked out, have a DNF. There were about 3 or 4 playoff drivers right at the cut line that had just that happen, so going to be a lot of drama in the next 2 weeks. But congratulations again on the victory, leading over 100 laps. Really impressive, and we wish you luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there it is, Alan. Gateway, Worldwide Technology Speedway. We knew it would have a lot of door banging action from the start, and it did not disappoint.
No, it did not. Nestled here in the Gateway to the west. But we got bigger fish to fry next week at Bristol as we get ready for the second, as we're getting into the second round of the playoffs here. And want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Want to thank Shane Lake for filling in last week at Darlington once again. Cannot thank him enough for allowing me to go do other adventures. But nonetheless, as we get out of here, we board the plane, and well, I had 30 minutes down the road. You board the plane.
With that, let's take a look at our final results. It's going to be Jacob Smith, Brian Smith, and Bentley Glazer. You're on your podium. Then Nathan Finnegan, Patrick Colby, your top 5. Kyle Purcell, Kevin Gunther, Adam Ball, Chuck Van Schaik, and John McNeil, your top 10. Jake Champion, Charlie Widener, Mike Grinnell, Sean Purcell, and Brad Delph, your top 15. Then Mike Taylor, Ethan Van Collie, Jonathan Duncan, there in 18th. Then Robert Bloom, Anthony Tizio, Brock Hersey, Ryan Patty, Cody Neal, Braxton DeWeese, Hanover Fisk, Chris Camburn, Kyle Diaz, and Jacob Gladelich. I think there's one more, Cody Eldred also. So Jake and Cody, I'm not sure they actually turned a lap in the race, but they did get on the qualifying roster there. So another great race for the Icon Cup Series here on Sunday night with SRM. We thank you for joining us. Thank you for chatting with us and answering the polls, keeping this exciting. We'll see you again next week as we head to Bristol for the second race of the round of 12 here on SRM. Thanks for watching.